Uh, Thank you, Jan Santik. For my part, I will present the methodologies that used in this paper. Uh, Maybe Ajahn Santik forgot to tell that this is like a preliminary results that we got, so it's not complete yet, but we hope that we can get some comment from you and maybe we can adjust the paper later. The models that I use, I am following from the literatures on the productivity growth, such as the work from the Frankel and Lovers in 1999. They say that the productivity growth is based on the economy of scales, in which in the model they use kind of the country areas, the population's growth or something like that in there. And also they have some kind of the institutional qualities in the models, and also some kind of the trade measures in there. The key difference that from our models and with others maybe is mainly on the trade indicator. We use different kind of trade indicator with names. Okay, before I go to the trade indicator, for the institutional qualities, I throw in 5 indicators in which I hopefully that they can capture different type of the institutional qualities. First of all, I introduce those kind of the country ratings. In there is overall competitiveness in the country, and also I add some kind of like the bureaucracies, the corruptions, the labor regulations, and the justice. So I wish that they can capture different type of aspects of the competition policy in the countries. And all of these indicators, I got it from the IMD, the competitiveness yearbooks. For the trade indicator, in this kind of literatures, when they normally use the openness, which we already know that is an export plus import to the GDP of a country. But there are works that argue that when we use this type of indicator, they may lead us to those kind of endogeneity problems, because there could be the factor that drive growth as well as the drive trade at the same time. So Frankel and Lomer, they instead use the kind of the estimation or the predict value of their openness indicators. So they say that this is real openness indicator. So what they did, they applied those kind of gravity model, but it's not a full gravity model. They just regress the trade, export size, import size with the geographical variable only. They don't include those income or things in there, just only with the geographical variable. So they think that they believe that this kind of indicator will have less endogeneity problems. But when I try to think about their indicator, I feel that even we can get some estimate or the predict value of the trade that got from the gravity model, but they they ignore the true trade connections between countries. So we propose to use different indicator, but very simple. Instead, to use only the predict value, we use the ratios between the actual trade that happens and to the predict trade that we obtain from the gravity model, but it's the full model that including those distance variables, geographical distance, and as well as those the economic size, the income or something like that, including there, but it's the ratios. So I think that this kind of indicator should have should not have much endogeneity problems, and they also capture both the architecture of the trade connection among countries as well as the real trade that occur between the countries. And besides of that, by using this kind of indicator, since the gravity model is based on the bilateral trade, so we can grouping the bilateral trade the trading country that the country I may have with. So I can construct a set of such as the East Asian economy trading with among themselves as a group, or trade with the rest of the world, or trade with ASEAN 5 in ASEAN here. for example. So we can focus on the different type of the trade openness within the regions that we focus on. So we can see kind of more details on the trade policy between the regions or the inter-regions. So under this study, so I used the 4 set of the trading partner in there. One is all country. Second is trading with ASEAN 5. Thirdly, trading with other 6 East ASEAN countries, with Japan, Korea, India, Australia, New Zealand, and China, and trade with rest of the world. So we use the data set that based on the SITC data set during the 1996 to 2005. It's covered 10 products there. Since the UNCTAD, they have put it in a nice DVD-ROM. So I use those kind of data set, and for the study, I restrict the country I that we focus. We focus on the 11 East ASEAN country, which is ASEAN 5 plus other 6 East Asian countries in there. And we also do perform those kind of econometrics tests as normally, and such as we do the Hosman test, and they suggest that the fixed effect is better. But once we use the fixed effects, as I introduce the country effects in there, it will be perfect collinearity with the area variable, because this is not changed over time. So I have to decide to drop out the area variable from there, but introduce just the country effects in there. And so the model that we estimate look like this. We have the dummy of the country effects, dummy of the time effects. We have the population size in there, and we have those kind of institutional quality that's measured by five indicator. But of course, we may wondering that maybe there are some endogeneity, some metacollinearity in here. So maybe later we can take some out, such as if we want to look at the effects of the below corruption, something like that. Maybe we should exclude the country rating from this model. But maybe we can do it after this seminar. And also the variable that we focus is on trade indicators, so I put in there. And we got some preliminary findings, which I will just give overview what we found, and this time we come in and to discuss more in detail on the findings here. For the first table, which is very small there, this is when 11 of East ASEAN countries they trade with all the country in the world. We find that the population size, it doesn't matter, of the country I is not a matter, but the country ratings, the institutional qualities here, it show up to be a strongly significant. We have positive signs. But when we look at other indicators such as bureau corruption, labor justice, they are not significant at all. Maybe because of metacollinearity problems in there, but we will later we will do that, check about that. And for the trade indicator, it's quite interesting to see that the kind of the sector on the SIT space on the sector 3, which is sector 3 is, if I believe, is mineral fuels and the kind of the lubricants, something like that. They are strongly significant in their positive sign. And the SIT4, which is the animal and vegetable oils, they also shown a strong significant signs in there. But we come to the sector 9 here is commodity and transactions that not classified elsewhere in the SITC code, in which we checked last night. What is it? Is it kind of the gold, coins, something like that? They tend to have a negative impacts on the productivity growth. This is for the East Asian trade with all countries in the world. But now in the table 2, now we focus on the East Asian country trade with focus on the ASEAN 5, and the results are similar for the country ratings. They have positive impacts there. But when we look at the trade effects there, we find that for the SITC 4, which is the animal vegetable oil, and the SITC 5, which is the chemical and related products, they are strongly significant positively. But we don't find any negative effects of the trade indicator on that have on growth when East Asian country trade with those ASEAN 5 there. But when we look at the East Asian country trade with the other East Asian 6, this is quite interesting that we observe that we didn't find any positive, robust, significant impacts on the productivity growth, but we did find the kind of negative impacts on the SITC 8 and SITC 9. SITC 8 is a miscellaneous manufacturer article, which including those textile, wearing apparel, and other things in there. And they shown that they have a negative impact on the productivity growth, which Ajahn Visan will comment on this in shortly after my presentations here, which will finish in 2-3 minutes here. And finally, we test with the trade openness with the rest of the world. We also find both positive and negative impacts on there. The negative impacts we find on the SITC 9, which is gold coins, but positive impacts we find on the SITC number 2, which is crude materials such as coal or some kind of other raw materials in there. So I will pass this to Ajahn Visan so he can discuss on the intuitions of this.